My third wedding anniversary was this week. My wedding was absolutely beautiful, and I am so happily married to my husband. With regards to guests, I explained to my family that we really only wanted serious partners to attend as plus ones, that is spouses and fiancés, to keep numbers manageable and make sure we didn't have random exes in various photos. Liam messaged us shortly before the wedding, asking if we could extend that rule to include his girlfriend, as he would be the only immediate family on his own. We agreed. I had some vague idea of him having a girlfriend, but given how busy we both are and that we are both bad at keeping in contact, I didn't know or question too much. The wedding was lovely and went off without a hitch. Rose was a very sweet girl, very intelligent and kind and absolutely gorgeous, and she and Liam seemed like a very cute couple. We spoke very briefly about their relationship, meeting at university, together for a year and a half, and so on. There were a few cracks made about the wedding, giving Rose some ideas, and that was really it. I had no reason to interrogate them, of course. Fast forward to this week and Liam and Rose are visiting my husband and I for dinner and drinks. We're relaxing on the porch, a little tipsy, and Rose mentions Liam's gift to celebrate 3 years together. Cue my surprise. Rose immediately realizes she screwed up and Liam is cracking up. I say, I thought you were together more than a year at my wedding. And Liam replies, no, me and Rose matched on Tinder 2 weeks beforehand, and I invited her to your wedding as our first date. Apparently mostly as a joke. I told him he absolutely should not have done that and that he had really hurt my feelings, bringing a total stranger along to an important event for me and for our family. He replied that, with my reasoning, he had done nothing wrong as Rose turned out to be a long-term partner and not a random ex. My point is, he had no guarantee that would be the case. However, he thinks I am being unfair, being mad at a situation that ultimately turned out absolutely fine, and I'm not sure if he's right or if I'm justified. There is no chance of me cutting contact with Liam or Rose over this argument, just looking for outside perspectives and judgments. Am I being unfair? You're the idiot. First, for not trusting your own brother enough to take a suitable date to your wedding, and second, for even making an issue out of it 3 years later. I was in the same situation years ago. My sister did not want me to take my new boyfriend to her wedding. I went alone and I did not enjoy the day at all. I am still disappointed by this, and this topic brings back those memories. I think people get it wrong when they say that the weddings are their big day and everything is about them. They should think about their guests and how the wedding is a nice day for everyone involved. Even so, after all these years, me and that boyfriend are still together with 2 kids. My sister is divorced. Everyone's the idiot here except for Rose. Liam definitely misled you by implying that Rose was a serious longtime girlfriend. And him saying that he did it as a joke was definitely a bad move. However, you agreed to let him bring a date without asking any details. Who is this girl? How long have the two of you been together? Etc. If this was so important to you, why didn't you clarify what he meant by girlfriend? I don't think you have much reason to be angry about this, except for Liam implying that your wedding was a joke to him. No idiots here, or everyone's the idiot here, I even don't know. This is a who cares kind of thing. That's hilarious that he talked his Tinder date into going to your wedding. If it worked out, if it didn't, it's still funny to me. He lied and maybe you could be mad about that, but it's harmless and silly and who cares? Incidentally, my parents' first date was when my dad invited my mom to a wedding that he was a groomsman in. Which is a little weird. My mom is like, yeah, he's an idiot. But I guess it worked out. There's no school and she doesn't have a job, so my stepdaughter has no responsibilities at the moment. For context, her dad was a single dad until he met me when she was 10, and now we have 2 more children together. Her dad is a general practitioner, so he works pretty much constantly, and I'm left looking after 2 children by myself for the majority of the day, both 5 and 2 years old respectively. Apart from cooking the daily family meal twice a week max, looking after the children 2 times a week when we go grocery shopping, and helping me put away said grocery shopping, my stepdaughter does nothing to help when I'm clearly in over my head, and she's old enough to be taught a little responsibility. When I was her age, I was working 2 jobs and looked after my little sister and helped out around the house without being asked. She has to be asked to do every little thing apart from the things mentioned so far and almost always does them begrudgingly. To teach her a better work ethic, I put together a chart full of chores she has to do every day. Until she's done them, she's banned from using her devices, both her phone and her iPad, and I also take away whatever book she's reading at the moment. She can have them back when all the chores are done. A typical day for the past week has involved her doing 5 chores of her choice from a list. The choices are, as examples, vacuum all of upstairs or downstairs, wash the floor, cook dinner, fold the laundry, do the dishes, dust any surfaces, tidy your siblings' rooms, walk the dogs, pick up dog poop from the garden, etc. This was all working out fine until my husband caught on to what was going on, and he accused me of being lazy and punishing her for no reason and overstepping boundaries. I don't agree at all. The household is running much more smoothly with her help, and I have more time to spend educating my 5-year-old since school is out, and I need to make sure he doesn't fall behind. Am I the idiot? You're the idiot. It sounds like this wasn't something that you ran by her father. I understand you've taken a parental role in her life, but by his being upset, it seems like you crossed a line by not bringing him into the loop. Also, while taking away the devices until she gets things done can be beneficial, some of your chores you have listed can't even be completed until the evening. Another thing is, why should she be responsible for cleaning up your child's room? 5 and 2 are both old enough to learn how to pick up their toys to some extent. There is a responsibility, but you've definitely crossed a few lines and didn't go about this the right way. You're the idiot. You're using your stepdaughter, someone you have said you don't consider your real child, absolutely disgusting, for free labor for your kids. You don't consider her your child. Then you shouldn't be parenting her like one. You didn't run this by her father, going so far as keeping it from him. Your children are not a responsibility. Your whole comment is obviously written with so much bias, I feel certain you're hiding even more sinister mentalities behind your words. You disgust me. You're the idiot. Although she should have some responsibility, she shouldn't be punished, cause you can't completely take care of your kids. You're a bad mom for punishing her when it was your choice to have those children, yet you couldn't handle it. Why should she have to clean up after someone who she didn't choose to have? You know what you're doing is bad, or else you wouldn't hide it. You are also a crappy step-parent for saying you don't look at her as a real child. 17 am a twin. My sister and I are basically chalk and cheese, we don't get on too well, and we have separate friend groups and interests. It's never been anything major, we're just different people with very different personalities, and after being forced to act like typical best friends forever twins for so long, we squabble more than we get on with each other. One of the only major fights we've had is that my sister befriended a group of girls who teased me for years. I've always had a more alternative style and often got bullied for being emo and whatever. Because of this, my parents have always expressed that they love that I'm different and unique, even though I don't really think I am. Despite having a weird style, I'm still a basic white girl who loves dogs, Starbucks, shopping, etc. I think that my parents' insistence that I'm unique for years made her feel left out, as my sister has always fit in and never struggled to make friends with anyone and everyone. This has made her adopt a not like other girls personality, which even goes as far as her having a shirt with "I'm not like the other girls" on it that she uses as a pajama shirt. I don't mean to be rude and I don't judge my sister, but I feel like I have to explain some things to show how we got to this point. My sister always tells people about how other girls our age don't act like her, how she's different from teen girls, and nobody is on her wavelength. She usually says this when she's talking about how she loves running. She says most girls hate sports, how she likes Nirvana because she says she so should have been born in the 80s, and because she only uses cruelty-free makeup, even though our parents insist on this. There are loads more examples. Yesterday I was talking to my parents about planning to get my first tattoo when we turn 18 in December, and I want a portrait of our dog. My sister chimed in, "Oh, how original, a tattoo of a dog as soon as you turn 18. I would never get a tattoo that young, so many dumb girls get a tattoo just to be cool. I can't believe you're more basic than me, even looking like a freak," something she picked up calling me from her friends. I basically snapped and said something like, "Well, at least I don't pretend I'm special. I know my interests are pretty basic, but at least I don't go out of my way to pretend I'm different when I'm actually just like every other girl." This blew up into a huge argument about how she hated that nobody thinks she's original because I look weird, and I told her that it's not my fault that I like this style. We haven't spoken since. Am I the idiot? Everyone's the idiot here. This sounds like a normal argument between teenage sisters. Your sister is going through an unfortunate phase a lot of girls do, and honestly, it's good that you called her on it. There's nothing wrong with being like other girls, and there are plenty of girls who love 90s music and sports. It's something she will almost certainly grow out of. While I think you were justified in what you said, it obviously wasn't very nice. There was definitely a more constructive way you could have said it. I hope your sister learns to embrace what makes her an individual without putting other girls down. The world does that enough. As an identical twin myself, I get it. It's frustrating because people are always adding false dichotomy to twins like the pretty one or the smart one. Hear me when I say I was the smart one. It was damaging and hurtful. My peace came when I graduated college and moved away from my twin. Only then did I begin to develop my own identity. When twins blow up at each other, it hurts because we know each other so well that we know how to attack to inflict the maximum amount of pain. Not the idiot. Not the idiot. Your sister started a fight and you reciprocated. You called her out for being exactly like other girls. Any girl who says they aren't like other girls actually are. If she really wanted to stand out, she wouldn't point it out, but actually, just show how different she is. She is the example of what guys are told to look out for if they don't want a girl who is so basic. Don't worry about what she or anyone else says. You keep doing you and doing what you enjoy. You're more likely to have real friends compared to her for being yourself, as cliche as that may sound. I, 50, found out that my wife, 49, of 20+ years was having an affair. I was completely hurt over this and have started divorce proceedings. Obviously, this has been hard on our 4 children, but I cannot spend the rest of my life with someone I can't trust. Before we got married, my wife's family had money and demanded I sign a prenup. I had no problem, but since then the family money has been lost due to bad investments and lawsuits. My wife was a stay-at-home mother for the majority of our marriage. Our youngest child is 19, and because of the prenup, she can't get alimony. In short, my wife will be screwed. The only thing we own together was our house, and while it is paid off, my wife won't be able to afford the upkeep or homeowner association fees, so she will effectively be homeless. I have no intention of giving her any type of support for any reason. Since serving my wife divorce papers, I have refused direct contact as my lawyer has advised, but she's now playing dirty by getting the children involved. We have 2 boys, 23 and 21, and 2 girls, 25 and 19, and my wife has been pleading with them to get me to agree to halt the divorce proceedings in favor of counseling. After I told my children that I had no interest in wasting any more of my life with that woman, they have all essentially backed off, except for my oldest, Christy. She's very close to her mother and can't imagine a life where her parents aren't married. Christy tells me that her mother realizes her mistake and will do whatever it takes to make things right. She says that I owed it to the family to work things out. I refused and told her that it wasn't her place to make those kinds of demands. Since then, the only time Christy talks to me is when she's sobbing and asking me not to destroy the family. I understand that this is hard for her and offered to pay for therapy so she can cope, but she said there wouldn't be anything to cope with if I wasn't trying to divorce her mother. Since Christy is being too emotional to act within reason and refuse therapy, I have been resolved to limit contact until after the divorce. However, my other children are saying that Christy's behavior is getting worse. Am I the idiot for taking a step away from my daughter for a while? Not the idiot. If you decide to reach out to your daughter again, or if she reaches out to you, you need to drive home the fact that while you understand she's hurting and wants both her parents to stay together, it simply cannot happen. Forcing yourself to stay in a marriage that only makes you miserable with a partner who's a bona fide cheater will only make things worse for everyone, including Christy. It's a lie, and your children deserve the truth just as you deserve to be happy. Not the idiot, and you're not destroying the family. Your kids are all presumably out of the house, so you are now supposed to just be alone with your cheating wife. Sounds miserable. My parents got divorced when I was in college. It did screw, no lie, but it wasn't life-ending or developmentally stunting like if I would have still been living at home. Cheating is one of those things that I just can't abide in a marriage. Mostly because it's usually the culmination of long series of transgressions and lack of communication. Not the idiot. I am so sorry you and your family are going through this. Your daughter is obviously devastated, but that doesn't mean you need to put up with constant pleading and guilt trips. Maybe write your daughter an email saying that you are also devastated, that your wife broke your trust, and you need to feel safe and loved right now. You understand she is also upset that you will be there for her, but you can't keep having the same conversation where you are blamed for the actions of your wife. Keep the lines of communication open for when she can process this a little bit. Everyone in my house has chores. I am a stay-at-home mom, so I have the majority of them, but my husband has chores like taking out the trash and cleaning the litter boxes. My son, Ron, has a few chores like helping with the laundry, loading the dishwasher, keeping his room clean, wiping the table, and feeding the cats. Nothing too hard. One big rule I have is everyone picks up after themselves. I make it known that I am not the maid nor the only one living in the house, so everyone will do their part. This hasn't really been a problem, especially with our chore chart, until recently. Ron is not my husband's biological child, and he goes to his dad's one weekend a month. After coming back from his dad's last time, Ron informed me all the chores were my job and he didn't have to help, and his dad said so. I told him that this is not his dad's house, that he has responsibilities here, and I would not do his chores for him. Well, Ron went on strike. This is fine, his chores don't get done, he doesn't get his allowance. Well, the problem escalated, and Ron started throwing trash on the floor, smashing food into my carpet, and would dump drinks out. This came to a head this past weekend when I was fed up with the behavior. I took away his tablet and made him clean the house by himself, only helping with things he couldn't do on his own. It took him all day. That night, I talked to him about how hard it is to clean the house, and it has to be a team effort. I was telling my family about it, and word got out. I have been threatened with Child Protective Services, called an abusive parent, and called a B word. I really don't think I was in the wrong, but I'll leave it for you to judge. Not the idiot. My 7-year-old has roughly the same chores as Ron, may differ a bit depending on what you mean by helping with the laundry. Had my son done what Ron did, you can bet your back that he'd be cleaning it up. I think Ron's bio dad is out of line for what he's putting in Ron's head. He's clearly trying to make trouble. As for Child Protective Services, I'm fairly certain making him clean up his mess doesn't count as child abuse. Neither does having chores, especially when he's compensated for them. Not the idiot. We all live here, we all have chores. What dad wants to do at his house is fine, but inside your four walls, everyone has chores, even kids. As they should. But deliberately making big messes in some sort of 6-year-old tantrum? No way, buddy, you'll clean from sun up to sundown. You didn't beat him, you didn't have him digging a ditch, he was given a lesson in how much effort it takes to clean. Hopefully, he took it to heart and snapped out of his crappy behavior. Not the idiot. You went with a natural consequence. He who trashes the house cleans it. One of his main chores is to clean up after himself, and he chose to make a mess in a very defiant way. I also think his normal chores are perfectly acceptable for a 6-year-old. I had mine helping as soon as they could ask, and loading, turning on, the dishwasher was one they fought over because they all loved it. As was folding laundry and cleaning floors. I hate both of these, kids are weird.